Welcome to another episode of Ecological Niches. The sagebrush ecosystem, which is the largest biome or type of ecosystem found in the continental United States, covers over 120 million acres. As well as being the largest ecosystem, it is the most impacted ecosystem as well, with over 20% of the species found therein being at risk of disappearing from the ecosystem. The ecosystem, which is just slightly wetter than the annual rainfall required to be a desert of 10 inches or less, receives 11 to 14 inches per year of rain and snow. There are over 350 different wildlife and plant species that depend on the sagebrush ecosystem for every aspect of their lives. This does not include the species that need the ecosystem for a little bit of time, but are necessary for survival while they move from location to location. It also does not include the insects or species that travel between sagebrush communities and the nearby ecosystems of pinyon juniper or subdesert grassland. Since the early to mid 1800s, humans have been impacting the sagebrush ecosystem. These impacts include clearing land for farming, cattle rangeland, mining, development for homes and transportation, oil drilling, and much more. It is estimated that the sagebrush ecosystem has been reduced by 32% since those early settlers arrived in the U.S. West, and is still impacted and reduced by 1.3 million acres per year over the last 10 years. The biggest impact has been fragmentation of the ecosystem. Fragmentation means that while sagebrush used to be a more continuous system, since development agriculture, the sagebrush ecosystem is more like a group of islands that connect instead of the sea of sagebrush. Some sections being quite large and other sections much smaller. Fragmentation makes it difficult for organisms to travel through the ecosystem for things like seasonal migrations like mule deer, elk, songbirds, and to find mates such as sagegrass, antelope, and many insects, and also to find seasonal food. The sagebrush ecosystem is also highly impacted by invasive plants and animals. A major contributor is cheatgrass. Throughout history, as we humans in our search for food have dramatically changed the plant makeup of the sagebrush ecosystem by adding new grasses as well as clearing sagebrush with chemicals, plows, chains to allow denser grass for our cattle to graze on, it is estimated that 1% of the sagebrush ecosystems across Western North America has been untouched by grazing, and that 30% of all sagebrush ecosystems have been grazed too heavily. It was once thought that overgrazing caused more sagebrush to take over locations that were originally grassland. However, through more recent exclusion areas, these means areas where cattle and other grazers are fenced out so that they cannot eat what's inside, we have seen that this is not the case. That in fact, often sagebrush itself allows for a higher density and variety of grasses by being a nursery plant. Don't worry, a whole episode will be given to see the impact of sagebrush in the 19 species and 200 to 400 distinct types, and their effect particularly on this ecosystem. Climate change, like many ecosystems, is a concern for changes that may occur. In many worst-case scenarios, using current trends in the change in temperatures and decrease in precipitation seen in much of the western United States, up to 65% of the sagebrush community and ecosystem could be lost and become more desert-like. Obviously, humans need places to live, work, gather resources, to have industry, and to recreate. This does not mean, though, that we should just destroy or use ecosystems haphazardly, or with disregard for how our decisions impact other organisms. There are ways to minimize these impacts while still getting what we need. Since the mid-1990s, a main focus of restoration has been to take impacted areas from mining and fires and replanting native plants, including sagebrush, native grasses, and other native shrubs, with seeds. However, it's often seen that these seeds from native plants are present in the soil even after a fire, but only if there is low weed pressure can these plants return back to the original or healthy numbers and density. Often, restoration projects like this and other government projects receive all their money in 1 year and must be used up in that same year or the funding is lost. This is problematic for many restoration projects, including the sagebrush ecosystems, because a mature sagebrush may take up to 12 years to grow and to mature to a stable size. Plantings may have to happen over multiple years due to maybe low precipitation that year, or an increase in temperature, as well as to plant some native grasses after the sagebrush has begun to grow, as many of these species depend on sagebrush to sprout or grow to maturity. Next time you see a vast area of sagebrush, we hope that instead of thinking about development or other potential you see for what it can do for you, we hope you realize what is already occurring there, as we show just a sampling of organisms in upcoming videos that are both natural and invasive to the area. We hope you learn more and continue this journey with us in this series about the sagebrush community and in other series about different ecosystems. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, consider subscribing or giving a thumbs up. If you have any thoughts about this video or future videos, make a comment down below. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.